Good evening and welcome to the PinkUn Show, our latest edition of dedicated Norwich City shenanigans that might struggle to sleep between now and Sunday lunchtime. I'm Michael Bailey. Over the next 30 minutes or so, we will bring you all the key Canaries discussion points from Saturday's draw at Derby, take a look around the City players' home away from home at Colney, and of course all the talk ahead of Sunday's East Anglian Derby. And what a double act we've got with you tonight. Two, poised and ready for all your questions and comments. It is ex-City forward and Academy product Ryan Jarvis, and one of the few to cross the divide, former first team coach of both Norwich City and Ipswich Town, Steve Foley. Gentlemen, how are we doing? You right, Steve?
Yeah, I don't think I can lose Sunday, can I?
No, that's the best way to do it. And well done for coming on here beforehand too. Right. Ryan, how are you? I don't know what to say about the hat. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Peaky Blinders recently, so yeah. You like it?
I do like it. I'd have one myself, to be honest. Yeah, I do like that. And the beard's coming on strong too.
Is it?
Yeah, not yet. No, yeah. How are you both doing? What are you up to, Steve? Are you still at Ipswich Academy?
At the moment, but I'm due to come away from that into semi-retirement as such.
Well earned.
Yeah, and I do a little bit over at Market Academy. We're looking for the next Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing that, I think. Ryan, how you've been busy, haven't you? You've been away with Kings Lynn Town. You're working at the CSF, Norwich City Community Sports Foundation as well.
Yeah, that's going great. Currently on the B licence, actually, so I'm trying to further my coaching career. It's going great at CSF, and also it's going pretty well at Kings Lynn as well. So top of the table.
Top of the table, yeah. And Simon Lappin's still there as well.
Yeah, Laps is there. He's putting in some shifts up and down that left wing back, which he ain't too happy about. But yeah.
He's always done that, though. He's always done that. Coaching and management, or just coaching?
I'm thinking about management, but it's a little bit too early at the moment. I'm just enjoying my experience coaching. Yeah.
Eventually, then maybe. Steve, get an assistant coaching job.
Play as long as you can.
That's the way. Great stuff. We'll have plenty more from these two over the course of the next half an hour or so. We are live at pinkun.com and, of course, the PinkUn Facebook page too. We want to hear from you as well, be it on how good Maurice Leitner is, your Derby Day anecdotes, or any posers for Steve and Ryan. Get your questions, comments and banter through to us down at the pub. All you need to do is post your words on the Facebook page and they will ping right through to my phone. All being well. Let's start as we mean to go on, shall we, with the delightful Wesley Moulahan. She is down here and, like her namesake, is also unbeaten in East Anglian derbies. So let's ring in this week's headlines. Oh dear, I'm rubbish at this. Close enough. They're mad about the boy. James torments Derby, who salvage a point against Norwich. Gary Rowett leads the charge. The Rams lost last night, so we'll probably start concentrating on the real issues from here. Nelson's revenge. Oliveira's goal streak continued at the Ram, as in lack of goals, but we all remember what he had to say ahead of the first derby of the season. The script is written for Nelson's revenge this Sunday, and we mean a winning goal, not a red card. TT's in for a service. Sadly, City will have to do without Tom Treble for a couple of months after injuring his knee and ankle. Get well soon, Tom. The boys are at it again, fresh from our attempts to do a live show from Carrow Road. Sorry about that. Norwich City's youngsters went and beat Newcastle United in an FA Youth Cup Classic. Birmingham will bury a weight at Carrow Road in the quarter-finals. And finally, we'll always play them again. It's Derby week. Ipswich could only manage a goalless draw at home to Burton. Imagine your team doing that. Here's to another rip-snorter at Carrow Road. Actually, scrap that. Just a win or two. That'll be fine. And those are our headlines. Gents, we should get stuck into the current world according to Norwich City and Ipswich. Decent point at Derby in a way, Steve, because I think most people would have taken that beforehand.
Before you start, obviously you'd take it, but to be perfectly honest, I think Norwich were a little bit disappointed after the game. Obviously second half, I thought they played very well. The one thing about Norwich and Ipswich, but you look at Norwich and their goal scoring record. I think the last time I saw it, they scored 31 goals. That's only won a goal, won a game sort of thing. So to get into the playoffs, I think you're going to have to score a few more goals. And I think with 31 goals, if it was on just goals alone, they'd be fourth or fifth from the bottom. So they needed some goals.
Need to chip in with some more goals. It was a pretty eventful afternoon for James Maddison. He got called a cheat, effectively, by Gary Rowett for diving in the box. And we were going to show the Gary Rowett interview, but actually I couldn't be bothered to clip it. It's all on the PinkUn YouTube channel if you want to see Gary Rowett whinging about them getting a draw. But I don't know if you caught the incident, but I mean, James Maddison is such a good player, and he does trick goalkeepers and all sorts into bringing on fouls.
Yeah, I didn't catch the incident, but to be fair, whenever you're in the box around a player like that, you've got to be careful. You can't touch him, because any contact these days, the refs are going to give a pen. So, like I said, I didn't see it, but you've got to be careful around players like James Maddison.
Did you get to see it, Steve?
Yeah, I saw it, and to be perfectly honest, he's a clever player. I think he's obviously the star player at the moment as such. And as Jarvis says, defenders got to be a bit clever now. Forwards are, so that obviously breeds you've got to be a better defender.
And I mean, it's not the first time Scott Carson, the goalkeeper, has been involved in a penalty incident against Norwich this season either. James Maddison, I mean, you basically said beforehand, Ryan, he's the one that has caught your eye this year, and he could be anything he wants to be, it feels like.
Yeah, definitely. The clips that I've seen, I mean, I've not watched the full game because obviously I play on weekends as well, but the clips I've seen, he looks a tremendous talent. He's obviously waited probably a little while for his chance, and he's really taken it. As much as Norwich fans won't want to hear it, but obviously there'll be loads of clubs looking at him and probably wanting his signature at the end of the season, I'd imagine. We're
going to come on to James Maddison again in a moment. I'll speak to you about it. Steve, we've got a little treat for you guys watching, so keep around for that. Nelson Oliveira, James Maddison slotted home his penalty to earn the draw. Nelson Oliveira was the one who took the first penalty that Maddison won and saw it saved. He also was the only player to have his penalty saved against Chelsea in the shootout, and I think it's 9 games without a goal now for Nelson Oliveira. It hasn't scored since before Christmas. I mean, it's a horrible streak, Steve. And what do you do? I mean, Norwich want to keep playing him. They want the work to pay off and him to get back on the goal scoring trail. But I guess you just have to be patient as well. It's a horrible situation.
Well, yeah, it's okay, but sooner or later, as I said, the goals are going to have to come from somewhere. I mean, and if he's drying up, I think Maddison's got 9 or 10 now.
He's in 10 double figures.
And I believe the Ipswich guys, Waghorn and Garner, they got 10 apiece, which puts them slightly ahead. It's not a lot, but you need someone else to come in with the goals, obviously.
Ryan, you played at all sorts of levels. Did you go through spells like this? How do you get out of them as well?
Well, I was never like a prolific goal scorer, but the strikers that I played with, you've got to stay confident, go back to basics and training, and just focus on connecting with the ball. And I think when you do go through spells like this, the worst thing to do is shy away from getting yourself in the box, getting yourself in goal scoring opportunities, because that way you're never going to hit the back of the net. So you just got to keep getting in that box.
I mean, changing the subject slightly, but Sterling missed a sitter a couple of weeks ago. Everyone's laughing. Then the next game he's in more or less the same position. He goes in. No one's talking about it now. You've got to keep getting in there.
True, although I don't know if we should bring up Man City as an example for anything at the moment other than an incredible football. Keep the questions coming in. We'll answer some of those in a moment. I did just want to touch on the fact that as we started this conversation off with, getting a point at Derby seemed quite good, but Derby were pretty poor for a team that was second in the division, and likewise they lost at Hillsborough 2-0 last night, and I think their hopes maybe of finishing in the top 2, they've taken a big dent, because Villa look the real deal to me.
I think that's one of the frustrating things as an Ipswich or Norwich supporter. You see some of them up there not performing, you think, well, surely we can do better than that, but at the end of the day they're not. You've got to do it. As I said, a goal a game, 31 games, 31 goals. Is that going to be good enough?
Let's hope so. What have we got on here? Let's see. James Livy has been in touch. Keep them all coming in, the questions. Do you think Nelson Oliveira should start, as he seems low in confidence? So ultimately, you've got to keep playing him. Do you reckon, Steve? I mean, Norwich haven't got a lot of options, really.
No, well, that's the other side of it. I don't really know the depth of squad they got, but sometimes you just got to persevere and get on with it, and then the boys got to be brave enough to keep getting there. Yeah, you might be missing them, but eventually one will go off your knee or whatever, and away you go.
Do you remember having anything like that with a striker at Norwich in your time? I mean, I seem to remember Darren Huckabee. Maybe Ryan. Oh, harsh. Poor Ryan. There we go. What else have we got here? Mark Heath asks Steve who he honestly wants to win on Sunday and who he thinks will win. And you're not allowed to sit on the fence and go for a draw. Okay,
well, to be perfectly honest, and when people talk back about my career, and it's only a short one, not a very good one, the time I spent at Norwich was probably the most enjoyable, and I love the club. We got promotion, obviously, went to the Premiership, obviously come down, but them times there, and I was just saying to Jar, we had some very good players. When you talk about Huckabee, Darren Eady, Craig Bellamy, well, I'm sure the club would like one or two of them now.
Yeah, wouldn't they just? You didn't answer the question though, did you?
No.
No. Right, we'll try again later, Mark. I'll try again later in a bit. We'll end the show with that one. Tom Hill, what words do you think were exchanged between Nelson Oliveira and James Maddison after the Madders penalty? So this was the second penalty that James Maddison scored, and Nelson Oliveira. I can't really remember the conversation myself, but ultimately, as long as people are scoring and it's for the best, because it's remarkable how many teammates we've seen argue over penalties this year, especially in the Premier League as well.
I think they should just, you're the penalty taker, you're having it, no arguments, you know what I mean? And Maddison seems to be the player in form right now. I'd let him have it.
Can I just give you a little bit of experience of when we got to the Millennium Stadium?
I would love you to, Steve.
Well, I can remember, I can't remember the actual names, but we had obviously 5 ready to take them before the game. We practiced them continuously, but on the day, I think it was 2 or 3 of the players didn't fancy it. And if you're playing badly, it affects your mind. And I think Daryl Sutch was the one that eventually missed. He got all the criticism, but he wasn't even on the list to take one. Yeah. At least he was brave enough to take it.
Exactly.
So a lot goes on between the ears, I'm afraid, when it comes to penalties.
And football in general, I think. We were going to take a moment to hear from Daniel Farker and James Maddison, but that is all on the PinkUn YouTube channel. So after the show, go ahead over and have a listen to them both. Certainly from Daniel, and PinkUn.com is the other place to catch some of what those guys have had to say. But I did want to just reflect on James Maddison again, if we may. He's had such a good season. He's already won 1 Championship Goal of the Month competition. He's been Player of the Month for September, October, November and December at Norwich City. Seems nailed on for Player of the Season to me. I can't really see who's going to take that off him. And we actually, as I was writing a piece for the new PinkUn magazine, which is out on Friday, make sure you catch a copy of that. I stumbled across this video filmed by his dad, Gary, and here's some of the footage from it. It's James Maddison, a decade of development through when he was basically 6 years old to 16, in then the Coventry Academy system, and you can just see the way that he's just running rings round players. He looks a cut above. He was always playing a year above before he got scouted as well. Is it scouting a player like James Maddison, is that easy? Do they look that good, that old?
Well, I can remember the boy, I'm trying to think his name,
Tom Lawrence,
who come to Ipswich on loan at the moment, and I mean, I think they bought him for 7 million, was it, something like that? I'll put the boy Maddison ahead of him. He's in a lovely position, being playing where he is. He's a little bit comfortable. So, but at the end of the day, I can remember Darren Huckabee having a little bit of a freedom to play and murdered, and I think James is going to be up there.
I mean, we know he's worth a huge amount of money now, and he will be come the summer as well, I'm sure. And it's a difficult one because he'll get calls, I'm sure, and it'll be really interesting which clubs come in for him, how good they are, whether he feels that the freedom and the game time he's getting here would impact on that, and whether he'd get to play at the team that then signs him.
Yeah, and someone who's going to let him play in that little role, which is a comfortable role where a lot of players like to play now.
I mean, he mentioned to me, Ryan, how much freedom he gets and that he loves having that freedom from Daniel Farker. And you can sense he's really appreciating what he's getting this year. It's still only his first in the Championship. He's also a 21-year-old kid who's got the world at his feet. How hard do you imagine it is for him to reconcile, with what could come in the future to where he is now?
Yeah, he's obviously thinking that the season he's had, he's got so much to look forward to. But again, like Steve said, he's obviously going to have some choices and think, do I push on, do I go to a Premiership club and maybe not play, or he's going to want to go and maybe win trophies, etc., all that kind of stuff, or does he continue to have the success he's having at Norwich right now? It's a hard choice, but it depends what he wants from his career, I guess. Pritchard, obviously, he's gone because he wants to play in the Premier League, and he looks like he's doing well. So it's interesting to see whether he follows his footsteps or not.
Really interesting with Alex Pritchard, because the week before he was playing for the under-23s, and then he gets a call up and really shone, I thought, at the weekend. It's interesting with James Maddison. I mean, in terms of, as you say, keeping cool about what's coming up and those choices as a youngster. How hard is it? How hard is it to keep your focus in that situation?
Very hard. He's going to need, obviously, people that are sort of strong-minded around him to keep his focus on what's right for his football. I think he's going to have offers that are just the money on the table is going to be frightening for him. So he's got all that to think of. Yeah, that could probably set him up for life. So he's like, do I take that contract and it's going to set him up for life, or does he think about his football and think, right, do you know what? I'll stay at Norwich and I continue to progress like this. I might get an even better move. So he's in a great position, but then he's got some tough decisions to make. Obviously, probably coming in the summer, but he's in a good position.
And so are Norwich, because they're protected. He signed a new long-term deal in the summer, and Norwich have done a pretty good job now, actually, of protecting themselves, rewarding players, and then waiting for them to pay them back almost.
Yeah, I don't want to put a dampener on it, but I think he needs a very sensible agent. I mean, because a lot of agents now, for argument's sake, will be saying to him, or saying to Norwich, if we get this amount for him, he's going. So whether the club have agreed a certain fee on it already, it could be 10 million, 20 million. I think that's, well, Norwich will obviously want more, but if they have put that in his contract and someone comes along for him, well, there you go.
It's going to be fascinating what happens. At least we've got him for the rest of the season, which is a good thing, all being well and he stays fit, of course. The video is called Madders, A Decade of Development. You can watch it on the Gaz Maddy, Gazmaddy, a YouTube channel. No guessing for who Gaz Maddy is. And also you can see the video. It's embedded at PinkUn.com. And as I said, my feature on James Maddison is in the latest edition of the PinkUn magazine, which is out Friday. So keep an eye out for it at your newsagents, or you can get a copy sent to you over at PinkUn.com. A couple more questions, Steve, and we'll get some more from you as well, you guys in a moment too. Steve, what have you made of what Norwich are trying to do this season? Because it's been a big transition from all the Premier League money. Stuart Webber's implemented quite a lot of German connections in there, and it's a big departure, really. Yeah,
it is. And I think the German way is the fashionable way at the moment. Huddersfield obviously have done well at it. The academy situation, I wait to see how that goes. Because at the end of the day, get rid of Jamie Maddison, great. 10, 15 million. Have you got a youngster to go in there or someone like that? I mean, I can remember my time at Norwich. We had so many good youngsters coming through at the same time as well. So, this thing about academies, Category 1, Category 2, I think you need a good backup.
It's really interesting because you are at the Ipswich Academy at the moment, which is Category 2, isn't it? Yeah. Is that right? So can you see why it's still worthwhile to be a Category 1, Steve? Because it costs so much money as well. Yeah, well, this is my only opinion. When we have a discussion about it, I don't care whether it's 1, 2 or 3, have an academy. You've still got the same coaches. Keep them going at it, but all these new things coming out now, I'm lost on most of it. At the end of the day, when I had Ryan as a young kid, we just worked hard and really done well, and you could see the development of the boys, whether we were Category 1 or Category 2, didn't come into it. They're just good players and get them working. You're a lot closer to things, given that you're at CSF and know that's slightly separate to the academy. But what do you make of what's going on at the club at the moment, Ryan? Because there's been a kind of gentle criticism of the fact that it hasn't quite maybe produced the players that it's needed to in recent years. But of course we've got Jamal Lewis coming through now, who's kind of the big one, and the Murphys have done pretty well, and that tranche is over, and it's a question of sort of what happens now.
Yeah, I know. I guess from when we were at Norwich 10 years ago or more, but it doesn't seem as close, the academy to the first team. I think it's quite segregated, or it's separate, so they're not getting that interaction with the first team players, they're not training with the first team squad, whereas we'd probably have 5 or 6, 7 all the time, every day. The interaction between the youngsters and the first team was constant, whether that was on the pitch or eating together at lunchtime, it was always together. So that transformation from being an under-18 player to a first-team player, it was a lot easier, and the players developed quicker, I think, because you're getting the relationships between the youngsters and the first-team players, like the oldies, like Malky and Flem, but you feel more comfortable going into that environment and probably progressing a lot quicker. And then obviously it was still hard to get in the first team, and you've got young talents like the Murphys and Madisons, but there was probably a bigger group a few years back than there is now.
And it's that's spot on, and yet you also hear people say, well, actually, they need to attain something. They need to not be so close without feeling like they're attaining it. But I mean, Ryan clearly doesn't agree.
The one thing I think has changed, because that was, sort of a long time ago now, is now the pressure is on the manager more to get results. So I think maybe you had a bit more time to put the boys in. Now, hey, I think every club in the Championship expects their club to get promotion. Expectations are massive now.
They are. They certainly have been here as well. What have we got here? Craig Brown. Good luck, Ryan, with Kings Lynn. I hope you and Simon Lappin can get Kings Lynn promoted from the Southern Premier League. Just hope Hereford keep losing, but at least you're guaranteed a playoff place.
Thank you, mate. Hereford have got a couple of games in hand, but we've got to go back to their place and try.
That was a hell of a game, wasn't it?
It was a great game. Yeah, we were 2-0 down at half time. Nothing to lose. We went for it, and we played a hell of a second half. Great game. The Linnets were on with flares at the end of the game. So.
I'm sure that was allowed. Ian Culverhouse, of course, in charge at Kings Lynn too. So plenty of Norwich connections. Simon Lappin, Ryan too, and more. There's quite a few, aren't there?
There's some academy graduates. Yeah, Cameron Norman's doing very well at the moment. He'll probably progress. Hopefully not just yet. Mike Clunan.
Just a few. James Livy, I think there's going to be a massive bidding war for Maddison this summer. Could easily go beyond the £30 million mark.
Who is this?
James Maddison. £30 million?
Well, again, as I say, I don't know, agents have a big say in the thing now. Have they put a figure on it? 30 million? Oh, to me, that's a lot of money, but nowadays it doesn't seem anything. But
it's still a lot of money to me, Steve.
I'll take it now. I would.
Yeah. Dave Carolan's been in touch. Treacle, one of the best coaches in football. Treacle?
Yeah, well, it's my Cockney. When I first come to the club, I was one of the Cockney boys, and Treacle Tart, Sweetheart. I got called lots. I mean, I can remember Brian Gunn calling me Trapattoni.
He has actually said that on Twitter as well. Yeah.
Rob Newman called me Fabio Capello. Obviously,
could have been a lot worse.
Yeah,
Steve,
well, I think some of them were actually, but there we are. I'll take that.
Gunny's just been to the San Siro, you see, so he's probably he's exuding the Italy.
Gunny was a really good bloke. Yeah, I had a lot of time for him.
In that case, have you seen much of Angus? Because the way Angus Gunn has played this season.
We're talking about Maddison. I'm really impressed. It's not just because I like Brian, obviously, but he's a very good young goalkeeper. I think he could go to the next level as well.
Absolutely, I think he may well happen quite soon as well. Dave Carolan also says Jarv, one of the top two Jarvis brothers.
One of the top two Jarvis, the top Jarvis brother.
He literally just says one of the top two. Sorry.
All right, cheers, Dave.
How is Rossi getting on?
Rossi's he's injured at the moment, but he's okay. He's still at Lowestoft. He's going further and further back though. He's a centre half now, so I think that might have something to do with his legs getting a bit old.
He'll be in goal soon, then, won't he? That'll be all right. Craig Brown again got to sign Maurice Leitner in the summer. The board need to put their money where their mouth is. I don't know if there is any money, Craig, to be honest. Leitner is as good as Pritchard. I think I would not argue with that at all. Andy Lazzle, I can remember seeing Steve Foley play for Colchester United at Carrow Road a long time ago. How long ago would that have been, Steve?
Black and white, wasn't it? Yeah.
He hasn't said. I think he's being kind there. So there we go. We'll see if we can get some more messages right up in a moment. After a week off. Where were we? At Carrow Road for the FA Youth Cup last week, deadline day the week before that. So 2 weeks off. It's time for an East Anglian derby special of this. That's right, it is Flip the Bird. Now, after a couple of weeks off, as I said, and being at Carrow Road, we were at Carrow Road last week, and then 2 weeks ago we had deadline day. The last time out we did this was 3 weeks ago, if I can get my words out. Chris Elliott tasted redemption with a score of 7 following his opening show forfeit, and Spud Dave Thornhill clocked 4 to add his name to the honours board. Steve Cook remains top of the pile with a ludicrous effort of 12 in just 30 seconds, which leads us to the turn of Ryan and Steve. Ryan, in this instance, you are Norwich. Steve, you'll be Ipswich, and this is East Anglian Derby glory is at stake here, resting on the shoulders of this pair until Sunday. Steve, you're already ready to go on this Sunday lunchtime. 30 seconds to flip as many beer matches as you can. There's your pile, Ryan. You're going to do it at the same time. Try and catch them. I'll try and commentate as many as you can muster. The winner gets a selfie with Wesley Moulahan. These two are both primed. Can you watch this? Look at these two, ready to go. Are you ready, Dan? All right then. 3, 1, go. Go! A slightly quick start from Steve there, I thought, but he's taking no prisoners. Steve on 3, Ryan's ticking them on. You've got to do them all at the same time, Ryan, all at the same time. There's a pile, always a pile. Add them to the pile. That's the one. Yeah, it's a bit harder now, isn't it? Yeah, a bit harder now. Steve clocking them over. That's Ryan didn't get practice, but he did catch those. Did well. What? No, no. Keep your pile. Add another one on, Steve. Add another one on. Try and give Ryan's clocking them up. Steve's adding another one. These are going to be good scores, I think. Well, you can't have those, Ryan. Oh, that's going to be it. Ryan's adding a couple on top. Ryan's well. I mean, yeah. I don't know if we've got stewards on that.
5 honest ones.
Sean filmed it. I don't know. Sure. Steve said, what do you got there, Steve?
5 honest ones.
5 honest ones from Steve.
6 honest ones.
Ryan's taken 2 off because that's then honest. So Norwich win 6-5. I mean, that might be the kind of result we get on Sunday, Steve.
6-5. Right. I don't think it'll be that many goals.
No, we'll take a 1-0. Well done. Norwich bragging rights. There we go. Have you got your phone with you, Ryan? Yep, good. Right, you can take pass that along, Steve. I want to see Jarvo not only in his hat, but also a selfie with you two. Look after that. That's going to be the best picture on Twitter this night. What a wonderful image that is. I don't know if Ryan can work his phone. He doesn't do selfies, he said, but there we go. Look at that. I think he's taken it. We'll share that on the social medias. What a joy that will be. There we go. Top man Ram. Well done. Wesley Moulahan as well. Okay, let's let things die down a bit now. Let's relax. After all, we need a rest as well as work here on the PinkUn Show. If it's good enough for Norwich City, it is good enough for us. I got to slip down to Colney earlier today to speak to City head coach Daniel Farker, head of sports science Chris Domagala, and the guys from Norwich company Blue Space about their new room, helping the Canaries players adjust to their double sessions. Daniel, talk me through this new room. What kind of a difference is this going to make for your players?
Yeah, I think we're really happy that we have this opportunity right now because we got the feeling, I mentioned always, so the players are really blessed that they're in town, that they're able to work in this business, and we want a lot for them and hard and professional work, but we also have to keep in mind that they're human beings, and for that I think it's necessary to give them a building and also an atmosphere where they can calm down. So we have to have nearly 60 games during a season. That means the day before and the game day we are normally in the hotel. That means it's sometimes quite busy for the players because they spend more than 100 days per season in a hotel, and we got the feeling, okay, at least in the training ground they need to have an atmosphere when they feel quite familiar and they can calm down, and that was the reason we want to create this building, to give them some space. And I think it's nearly perfect in these terms. Yeah, and also for our workload, so we have many days with double sessions, and between the sessions, so we don't want to the players to travel around or to go into the city. So right now they have the opportunity here to can calm down and to sleep a bit and to relax. I think it's important.
Came out with a telephone call from one of the guys from Norwich City Football Club to invite us here to see how we could help them transform what was a little rundown conservatory into an exclusive players' lounge. We really wanted to kind of move it away from being a conservatory feel. So one of the big features are the massive drum light shades that hang from the ceiling. They're about 1500mm diameter, so quite large, and they throw your eye away from the sky to actually kind of bring the ceiling down a little bit. Colour scheme is also very important. We really didn't want to have yellow and green, which would have been the obvious, so we've chosen some far more contemporary colours and finishes, such as greys and oranges. Again, things like the detail in the carpet wouldn't be something that you'd see everywhere else. It's actually a plank system that's laid down, again with the nice colours of the oranges and the greys. And the furniture as well is very modern, very contemporary. You won't see this on the high street, it's quite unusual. Together with some nice bespoke joinery to add the features into the wall and to highlight the television screens.
I started off by making plans and 3D visuals of the space, bringing it to life of how we could transform it, and then I implemented choosing the furniture, choosing all the finishes, lighting and so on.
Ryan, how different was this, doing it for a bunch of footballers compared to the other jobs you do?
Well, there's a bit more pressure on this project. I wanted it to really work for them, and just be a really great area for them to chill out between sessions.
The spotlight was on because we're a new supplier to the club, so we couldn't, we really had to make sure that we performed in terms of, you've got to turn up on site on the day you're going to be here, at the time you're going to be here. Obviously we have to be mindful of the quality players that are here, and things like no photographs. We're adjacent to the main dining facilities, so we have to make sure we're almost silent, so we close the area off so it kind of, nobody wants to know that we're here. So there are challenges like that, and again expectations are high, so we have to make sure we meet and deliver.
It's been really well received. Yeah, it's been. We've had some great feedback, and everyone's enjoying the space.
And in a little way, hopefully this will improve Norwich's form and fortunes over the coming seasons or two.
We're confident it will, absolutely.
And the third thing is, I think it's good for the togetherness, because when they are sitting in the dressing room, they're sitting in one row, and when you come in, then each one is, there with his mobile and in the social media and whatever. And right now we have here a room when they can come together, and there's a big round table, and they can communicate together. And okay, I'm perhaps a little bit too old for this, but all the young lads like to be here and sometimes to play some PlayStation, or last time they watched the Tennis Australian Open final together and had some fun. We got the feeling it's good for togetherness in the group, and they're not just professional together on the training pitch, but also they have some moments, some private moments together. And when we are honest, it's not like when you have a poor team and you have this building. Right now it's an unbelievable team who win the championship, and then automatically the champion in the Premier League. But I think it helps in 2 or 3%, and these 2 or 3% can sometimes decide games, and for that we're pretty happy that we have this opportunity right now.
How much are you looking forward to your first East Anglian derby at home? It's a very different dynamic, isn't it, when it's a derby and it's in your place?
Yes, a lot. So because we know there are probably 2 games during the season that are more important than any other games. Okay, there are only 3 points, but you felt it even in the first derby how much it meant for the whole club, for the supporters, and the feeling when the referee blows the final whistle, and we had we won this game, so it was outstanding, and you could feel how much it meant for our group, but especially for all the employers, for the club, for all the supporters, and it was outstanding. And right now we have the second derby in this season. To have it at home is has a good feeling. So perhaps the pressure is a little bit more on Ipswich, because they have to respond after our brilliant away win there. But we want to repeat this winning feeling, and we're looking forward to have this, especially in our living room at Carrow Road.
Now, as you may have noticed, I was wearing a blue shirt for the whole of the show, which seemed rather needless, so I've put a yellow shirt on now. I don't look as good as Ryan does in his hat, of course, but there we go. Right, as we know, there are still only 3 points on offer for a derby win, so let's remind ourselves of the picture overall in the Championship heading into the weekend. Sheffield United finally picked up a welcome result in Paul Heckingbottom's first game in charge of Leeds. Another Yorkshire derby saw his old club held by Sheffield Wednesday. Leeds and Bristol City were also both held. Sunderland were 3-0 down at half-time, while Villa claimed the second City bragging rights, and Derby failed to respond on Tuesday night at Hillsborough. Wolves are over the hill and far away, but the battle behind is heating up, with Villa in pole position to kick on. There is still some light for those sides hoping to catch the top 6, with Brentford, Leeds and Ipswich all tied on 44 points, as are Norwich City, which means they are closer than they may look, although they do still have a negative goal difference. Barnsley drop into the bottom 3, while Sunderland's position continues to look difficult. It's a curtailed Championship programme this weekend with the FA Cup 5th round. It looks like a tasty Sunday, of course, both at Carrow Road and Elland Road. Most of the remaining promotion contenders are in action on the Saturday. There is a full midweek schedule too, involving all 24 Championship teams, when Norwich City head to Molineux to take on runaway leaders Wolverhampton Wanderers, with John Reddy and Ryan Bennett also for company. Gentlemen, you look at the Championship table. As it stands, we've got about 15 games left. What strikes you?
Well, I was just saying to Ryan, what strikes me here, I think it was Fulham last year who in 6th position had 80 points. So if you say that's a marker, at the moment, both Ipswich and Norwich, 44 points. That's 36 points they've got to get. out of 15 games, which is 45. So 36 out of 45. If you get that, you deserve promotion.
What I noticed from also looking at the League 2 and 1 tables, that there are a couple of games further along the line, yet the team in sixth position, I think, is on 54 points. So two games further along, but actually the points tallies aren't as high.
No.
And it does feel like, I don't know if it's helped by Wolves, but it feels like it's going to be a high tally anyway, which doesn't really do Norwich or Ipswich any favours.
No.
Should we just scrub it off, Ryan? Are you scrubbing it off?
No, definitely not. This time of the season, if a team puts a really good run together, anything can happen. Like you said, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams on 44 points. Now, if Norwich put together 3 or 4 wins, which they're capable of doing, then they're in touching distance. Obviously, with some luck of the teams above them dropping points, but you can't think negative at this time of the season. I know it's a big ask, like Steve just mentioned, the amount of points they have got to accumulate. But they're not out of it. Definitely not.
If you go over to the PinkUn YouTube channel, you'll be able to see our preview videos. Paddy Davitt, Dave Freezer, Andy Warren and Stuart Watson, so 2 from Ipswich, 2 for Suffolk, have all been teeing up the game on Sunday. Well worth having a watch. Really fascinating that Norwich and Ipswich on the same points. Ipswich are in a better position because they've got a better goal difference. Yet Ipswich fans, it's like it's all over. We've got nothing to play for. Norwich fans are still like, oh, we might still get there. The difference in attitude at the two clubs is so stark.
And as much as I'm saying that is arguably more or less impossible, if they do win 3 games, either team, they are back in the championship. As long as the other teams, obviously, you've got to remember they've got to lose them, which is a big thing for someone like Bristol or Fulham to lose 3 games on the trot.
Quick random question: will Sunderland get relegated?
Yes.
Yes.
Poor Sunderland, double relegation. At least Hull will hopefully avoid it for their own sakes. Keep your questions coming in for these two and on general Norwich City issues, of course. Now, you may remember on deadline day, I sat down with Ed Cousins-Lake, Norwich City author extraordinaire, to talk all things Norwich City and their past transfers. It's a lovely chat, and you can still watch it on the YouTube channel because it's not actually about the current transfer window or the one just gone, but about Norwich City through the ages, if you like. Now, we ran a competition to win a signed copy of his book Norwich City the 80s that he's going to sign, which is great, so we'll get a copy. Here is how the question was set. Should we come up with a question live?
Yeah, we just did the question, didn't we? And then we gave all the answers.
Oh, yeah. Well, we won't do that question.
Okay.
We're now going to see us,
so you're now seeing us struggling to think of a question.
Yeah. We can always edit this bit.
Yeah, we can edit this because we're having a pause now because we answered the question that we're supposed to ask. Yeah, okay. Which player, it was in that decade...
In the 80s.
...did Norwich sign? When he was asked about him, Justin Fashanu said, we haven't signed him, we've signed his milkman.
Okay. That sounds like a great question. I've not got an idea, so I'm going to look blank anyway.
Yeah.
So there we go. Do you want to say that question again once more?
Norwich signed a player in the 1980s of whom Justin Fashanu later said, we have not signed blank, we've signed his milkman.
Who was he?
Who was it?
And the answer was Drazen Muznic. And the winner, selected at random by Norfolk Head of Sport Chris Lakey at my desk today, is Richard Reason. Congratulations, Richard. He said he watched the show while on holiday in Rotorua in New Zealand. Gentlemen, have either of you been to New Zealand? Have you been to New Zealand?
No, I haven't. I've always wanted to go, to be quite honest.
Ryan?
No, I've never been to New Zealand, no.
In that hat? No? Okay. So well done, Richard. If you can send me... Where are we? If you can send me your postal address when you get the chance, when you're not on holiday, presumably, email that to thepinkun@archant.co.uk. That's thepinkun@archant.co.uk. And then we'll make sure that signed copy of Ed Cousins-Lake's Norwich City the 80s is popped off in the post to you as soon as possible. And likewise, if any of you guys and girls at home are watching feel like you want to get in touch with us here at the show, you can email us, and all you need to do is ping us an email to thepinkun@archant.co.uk. Right, I think we should finish tonight by locking our sights on Sunday. We've obviously discussed it a fair bit already. Guys, what were you doing in April 2009?
Oh.
Long time ago, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Good question. Go on, you know, obviously.
Well, no, I don't know what you were doing, but that was the last time Ipswich won this fixture, home or away.
Was it, honestly?
Yeah, so that's quite a long time ago, isn't it, Steve?
I can remember being with Norwich when Liam Mackenzie scored 2. That was a great day.
Biggest memory of the derby.
We went top of the league. This is when I was at Norwich, and I can remember going into the dressing room and more or less dancing away, and the lad said, "What's up with you?" I said, "Well, we're up. This is December." And I said, "We're up. We're top of the league. If we don't lose a game, we're promoted."
In your own hands.
Wow. But we done it.
Yeah, well, that's almost how it worked, wasn't it?
What debut?
Yeah, it was.
That was Leon's debut, wasn't it? I just remember his header, a hell of a header. Far post.
What would you have done if a coach had walked in saying we're up in December, right?
I'd have been buzzing. That's something Steve would have definitely done.
Get the bonus in.
With him.
I'd love to have been in the dressing room that day. What a day it'd have been. I mean, it is one hell of a run. I mean, what did the club? What do Ipswich do about this? Because I get the sense Norwich fans are almost more wary about it ending than Ipswich fans are.
The strange thing is, obviously it's a new set of players as well, so why does it affect them? I don't know, whether it's a big thing on the media and it gets inside their heads, you know, I mean, it's strange.
Have you ever known a run like this, Ryan?
Who for? No, it's just some amount of years, that isn't it? I think it'll continue anyway.
Good news. That's good news. I mean, we did sort of touch about the fact that Ipswich are above Norwich in the table, which almost seems to have been forgotten. And Mick McCarthy, I think he's had 8 of these derbies and he hasn't won one yet.
Yeah,
Steve.
amazing. And Mick's a good man. He's a good manager. And I don't care what people say. You know, he's been limited in what he's had to spend. He's brought a lot of money into the club. And he's brought more in than he spent, so there we go.
And what I would say is, I think a lot of Norwich fans respect the job that Mick's done. Now, you'd probably find a lot of Norwich fans going, be careful what you wish for, because Mick's done a great job to keep Ipswich pretty competitive on almost no budget.
Yeah, exactly. That's the exact point I was going to say. Like Steve just said, the Ipswich fans sometimes probably don't appreciate what the job he's done, because the money he's probably had available is next to nothing compared to a lot of the clubs in that championship, and for them to consistently finish mid-table or a little bit higher, then it's a good job that I think he's done.
I'm going to put you on the spot now, Steve. Do you think Mick will stay at Ipswich beyond this season?
Oh, who knows?
I don't think Mick knows, I guess, does he?
No, you know, they're feeling inside the club that everyone wants him to stay. But if his contract's up, which people are saying it is, I don't know whether it is. Obviously, he's going to be open. And I'll tell you what, he won't be out of work for long.
No, exactly not. I guess, well, maybe if he wins the derby, they'll want to keep him.
There you are.
Maybe if they don't, then they'll bin him off. There we go. Norwich to keep doing what they're doing then in taking this fixture on. I asked you both for your 11s. We can see them now. It's both on the same slide because it's basically Norwich unchanged. And keep it ticking along.
Well, to be perfectly honest, as I say, I thought against Derby, especially the second half, I thought they played very well. And if I was the manager, I'd just say, go on, boys, go and do it again.
Would you always prefer a manager to be like that? Because what we have seen with Daniel Farke is a fair amount of rotation when he's been able to and wanted to do it.
No, I'd rather keep the same lineup. I think if a team's performing well and if you've got some good results, I think consistency's strong. So I think that's exactly why I stuck with the same team. I just think the players are in a good run of form and confidence is high. I think that team should be starting Sunday.
I think they've got a bit of momentum about them, Norwich, at the moment, so that helps. Right, let's have a look at some of the more questions we've got here. Troy Hendrick, derby prediction 2-1 Norwich with goals from Oliveira and Leitner. All looking forward to seeing Mo Leitner playing in the derby, of course. Ian Honeymoon, any news from the club on season ticket renewal numbers? Do you think the numbers may fall? Ian, I don't know. I'll be very interested to find out. We've kind of wondered over several years whether they might fall, and they haven't. So we'll see again. I think this run after Christmas is helping, probably can persuade a few people to get back involved next year, but we'll see. Ryan just smiling at me.
No, it's well, the football's joy to watch, isn't it?
This is it, exactly. That's the spirit. Pay your money. Wow. That's your club sales pitch. I like that. Glenn Bate went to school with Steve Foley.
Glenn
Bate.
Oh, good man. How are you, Glenn? Don't know him. I can't remember anyway, sorry. That was a long time
It probably
ago.
was a while, Glenn, but great to know. If you've got any little anecdotes, we've got about 3 minutes, get them on here, we'll share them. Dave Carolan, top of the league at Portman Road. Yes, he enjoys it. Good to know you still remember,
he's at Derby
Dave.
now, don't forget. He's at Derby, so be careful.
I'm waiting for him to comment about penalties, but he's not done it yet. What else have we got here? Brian Gunn has actually been in touch. All right, Trapattoni, Italian flag, thumbs up.
Very great.
Ryan Blinder, as in Peaky Blinder, I think. He's right. I couldn't imagine Gunny liking the hat, because he's probably got a few himself.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
International caps.
Oh, Steve, beautifully done. Robert Eagles watching? It's like a Norwich City reunion here now. Gunny says Trapattoni and Jarvis or PSG versus Real Madrid.
Oh, dear me. Yeah, that's gone now, is it?
No, Liverpool's on in the background, so we'll keep that quiet. Well, there we go. That's nice to have a bit of interaction from those guys. Leaves me to say key man come the derby. Key man. Who's going to be the key man on Sunday?
The managers. That's caught you out, hasn't it? Yeah.
Both of them?
Yeah, well, I've got a feeling that Ipswich is going to do it. There we are.
What a bombshell. Ryan?
I don't. I think Maddison won't be no surprise if he scores a winner or plays a big part in the game. The form he's in, he does it every week at the moment.
As he did at Pullman Road as well earlier in the season. All right then. Well, predictions. You've called a win, Steve.
Yeah,
You're going to put a number
I'm just
on
going to
it?
go with him simply because they're just slightly ahead at the moment. Don't know why, but there we are. That's what I'm going with. Rather than sitting on the fence.
Yeah, well done, Mark Heath. You see, we got a prediction out of him in the end. Ryan?
The goals 1-0 Norwich.
Had that a few times this year, haven't we? Gents, we are done. Thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated. That is it for us. Remember, you can catch this show. Where am I down? Over here. You can catch this show on all our superb Norwich City content over at the PinkUn Facebook page, PinkUn YouTube channel, and of course the actual website, which is pinkun.com. A big thanks to all the crew, to Steve and Ryan for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Love the hat as well. Thanks for bringing that, Ryan. To everyone here at the Woolpack, and of course to you guys and girls for watching and getting involved. I will be at Carrow Road on Sunday for the big noon kickoff, of course, alongside Paddy Davitt and David Freezer. So keep tabs on pinkun.com for all the build-up, live coverage, reaction and analysis to Sunday's East Anglian derby. And of course, if you see us around, pop in and say hello. Norwich City are at Wolves, as we mentioned, on Wednesday night, so make sure you keep tabs on pinkun.com as well for the build-up coverage and reaction to that one in the Black Country. It's a pretty tough one, obviously, and that of course means that the PinkUn show will return in a fortnight's time. That is Wednesday, February the 28th. Should be back here at the Woolpack on Golden Ball Street in the centre of Norwich, where I will be joined by no less than BBC Radio Norfolk's dynamic duo of Chris Gorham and Rob Butler at the same time. Not one to be missed, that. We'll be live from the usual time of 7 p.m, of course, so if you're nearby, come join us, grab a pint and join us for the show. Until then, here's to a derby day, the one that we all know and love, the one where Norwich win. Good night.